Hello, everybody. You are now tuned in to another episode of the Peace of My Mind podcast. I am your host, J. Scott Gatsby, and we are recording this episode once again from the Inner Sanctum. Today's episode is The Art of Staying Soft in a World That Profits from Pain, and we will be discussing emotional resilience and vulnerability through both a psychological and a poetic lens. More specifically, in today's show, we will be taking a look at how maintaining our humanity and our peace of mind amidst a society that capitalizes on the destruction of self through exploited labor and the destruction of community through corruption is a skill that is vital not only for survival but also prosperity. So, wherever you are, I invite you to get comfortable, stay open, and take this time for yourself. Let's begin. What does it mean to stay soft or emotionally open in a society that rewards detachment? I mean, for me, when I think about it, this means that you don't allow for what the world has done to you or what anybody has done for you, for the most part, to be the reason why you reserve all of your love to yourself. I understand, you shouldn't really be out here expending all of the love that you have. When your cup is empty, that's not what I'm saying. But how could any of us have known love if we were never shown it, or it was never shown to us? Before we had an understanding of empathy, thoughtfulness, and everything that love encompasses, we knew nothing more than either affection or hatred, or however we were brung up by our guardians or our parents, families, peers, even, etc. So once we gain that understanding of love, however, it becomes something we seek to have for ourselves, whether it comes from us or somebody else. In both situations, what's needed is the strength to carry that meaning of love while also retaining the openness to giving it. This is very powerful because if you cannot give love, or you've never observed love being given in a way of which is actually healthy, then you more than likely are going to live your life without ever witnessing or really having the ability to conduct love in a way that is healthy, one that is not transactional. Because one very inspirational idea that I hold on to is Nikki Giovanni's idea of love not being transactional, and not verbatim, but how I comprehended or understood it as it was explained to by her in terms of love not being so transactional is it says nothing about me concerning me giving my love to somebody and not getting that love back, because love for me is just a power, that I showcase, and it just only shows the type of person that I am and the type of person that they are. And it honestly doesn't even say anything negative more so about that person. It just could potentially mean that that person has never been shown a love that wasn't transactional. They have never experienced a love of which they gave something and didn't expect anything back, or they were given something by a person out of love of which that person did not expect anything back. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that also rolls into emotional resilience, which is really the ability to cope with a crisis mentally and emotionally. In love, emotional resilience really works hand in hand with vulnerability, which in the psycho emotional context really means to be in a state of essentially emotional exposure. You build emotional resilience throughout your life, but it's truly critical in times of adolescence and just early childhood, especially because the vulnerability you display for your peers and people you feel safe enough to expose your true self around, such as friends, family, potential even romantic partners, that essentially sets up for your mind and your heart how things are going to go forward, whether it be a platonic relationship or a romantic relationship, because you're essentially laying the groundwork for how you understand relationships to work going forward in your life. So if it's been turmoil and toxic and very insecure as far as the relationships that you've had earlier on in life, then you're not doomed to continue having those relationships throughout your life. But at the very same time, it's going to be very hard for you to maintain a healthy relationships, given the fact that everything that you have experienced up to the point of having that breakthrough or that enlightenment of which you finally understand what a healthy relationship encompasses has been toxic, has been something that has not been healthy for you, has been something that has been taking more love out of you, leaving you most empty than anything. And once again, love is not transactional, but you have to be realistic concerning how much you can give versus how much you're allowing somebody to take from you. Doing this will never not be a risk, but it's important that you understand that you can't let your anxiety determine how much love you show due to the history of you being hurt or betrayed. Even practicing emotional regulation can help you take a moment in the moment to reflect on what you're actively thinking and feeling. Making this a routine ensures that your love is rarely put in the wrong hands in the first place. And this is very difficult, especially if you don't have anybody around you to teach you the methods of emotional regulation. Because even concerning myself, as human beings, every decision that we make in life, even going back millions of years, is a matter of survival, essentially. It has always been off of what we feel, whether we felt it was the safe thing to do or the right thing to do. So our anxieties of today travel right back to that. It's just a more modern, contemporary sense. And what I didn't know up until recently being maybe like the last 5, 6 years, is that even though our emotions are tense at times, we still have the ability to take a moment inside of the moment. Though we feel that the heat of the moment happens so fast, there is a moment after we feel of which we can think. There's a conscious moment after we initially feel those feelings of which we can then decide what to do with those emotions. And that is a very critical moment of which I do not feel as if most people even understand exist. And when I had my enlightenment and understood that that moment genuinely does exist, everything changed for me, because beforehand, I genuinely thought that there was little to no control as a human being that I had over my own emotions, as crazy as that sounds, just because of how potent I believe that my emotions were. But once I had that understanding of there is a moment in the moment, everything changed, because I realized in that learning or that enlightenment that I could do things differently. I could do things better, even really more so. Another really vital part of this growth that I had was also realizing that you can't just recalibrate in the morning and you can't just recalibrate one more time at night. You have to constantly recalibrate throughout the day. And what I mean by recalibrate is you have to check in with yourself, do a little introspection throughout the day, because things happen throughout the day. Things don't just happen in the morning and at night. So, given this fact, you have to ensure that you are continuously checking in on yourself and making sure that you're not only just happy, because to be happy all the time is a mental illness. Like just like being sad all the time is a mental illness. You should find a space in between of content. of okayness, because it's okay to not be okay, but I feel as if people don't even strive to simply be okay, which is a very peaceful thing in my mind. So, recalibrating throughout the day is very important to me because it allows me to not fall straight from happiness to despair and shoot from despair to happiness and kind of float back down into that void that's in between those two emotions. So, recalibrating throughout the day is incredibly important to me. Another thing is setting boundaries because a lot of people in our society take kindness for weakness, and you simply cannot allow for them to take advantage of you just because of your kindness that you display on a daily basis. So, you essentially are going to be treated based off of what you allow. And setting boundaries is not you being disrespectful, it's really you being respectful to yourself. Because if you don't respect yourself, how can you ever even expect a love that is right for you? The first path of solving a problem is admitting the problem. And sometimes the problem is yourself. And it has nothing negative to do with you other than the fact that you allow for people to treat you negatively out of the fear of losing them. And the truth is, if somebody truly loves you, they're not going to treat you in a way of which would risk them losing you, whether it's because you left them because of how they were treating you, or they left you because you weren't standing on anything. You just simply allow for them to do what they want. There's insecurity in that, because if I can do anything to you and you just not concerned, unfeeling, unmoved, don't even bother to set boundaries, I'm going to feel as if you don't care about me or you don't even take the relationship that we have seriously. So that is going to make me feel insecure in our relationship. I'm just speaking on my behalf. But also, what is a very important thing to keep in mind is capitalism thrives off of us being numb. I understand being stoic because being a human is a lot to feel nowadays, especially with these genocides going on across the world, whether it's the Congo, whether it's Sudan, whether it's Palestine. It is a lot going on, especially for a conscious and active individual, one that is active in their community, that is. So, to keep all of that inside and also aspire to continue loving friends, families, and peers at the same level that you have been for so long, it's a lot on the heart and it's a lot on the mind. But you also have to keep in mind that capitalism thrives off of the attractiveness of being numb due to feeling like feeling is becoming to be too much. The powers that be of society, especially Western society, are not interested in us being emotionally attached. They actually prefer the opposite. And then you ask, why is that? It's because an unfeeling human being makes the best and most exploitable laborers. Capitalism only thrives truly when people are being exploited for everything they are, especially physically, mentally, and emotionally. Being paid less than what you deserve for the work that you do oftentimes forces you into survival mode in order to provide for yourself and whoever you may be responsible for. Under this financial pressure, I do understand how emotions such as love and empathy for others can take a back seat to other priorities such as the paycheck, because unfortunately, you cannot pay bills with love. That's just not how it works. The advent of social media has only made this worse because people get on these platforms, especially popular figures, and they exclaim how much money one needs to fuck with them. Essentially, this is a very dangerous thing because a lot of people like to think that only the youth are impressionable, but genuinely people are impressionable as a whole. I don't think there's a point in our lives where we stop being impressionable people, meaning I don't believe that there's a point in our lives of which we get to a point of when somebody cannot influence us, essentially. In my mind, and just from my observations, I've seen the takeaways that people have from this being, oh, I need to make this amount of money to be able to have this kind of person, or I need to get my money up if I want to have any kind of serious relationship with people, because romantic relationships especially have become something that is more so a economic decision. And that's very sad because you could kind of sort of make the argument that that's how it's always been, absolutely. But now more so than ever, the first priority of people getting together romantically is, can I survive with this person economically? It has almost little to nothing to do with love. And that is very disappointing to me. Due to this, softness has really been made into something negative. And that makes me feel a kind of way because I like to think of myself as soft, but at the same time, I like to think of softness more so as a strength. Living in what world has been made to be as a genuinely emotional sound person is a huge accomplishment. If you ask me, you essentially refuse to lose your ability to feel in a time when many people have been influenced to believe that it's better to be numb. Finding new ways to keep love alive, in my opinion, is the highest, if not some of the highest level of creativity and revolution, because you are taking the responsibility of ensuring that others feel loved fully and properly by supplying it yourself. That act of selflessness requires a genuine spirit that's dedicated to the act of loving oneself, so much so that even the thought of someone receiving a love that isn't true is disheartening in itself. It really prompts me oftentimes a feeling of thinking like, if not me, then who? And I feel like that's very much so needed in this world because it takes love to build community. It takes love to maintain relationships. And a lot of people are shying away from the footwork that it genuinely takes to maintain a relationship, which is saddening because that is why the male loneliness epidemic is so deep and it just continuously growing on top of, these influences, like I said, on the internet and these social media platforms, of which are only exacerbating the issue because people are being led astray. People are being led in the wrong direction concerning being told and taught that love is this. You should expect this from your partner if they really love you, X, Y, and Z. When in reality, we are all unique people. No relationships are not, they're not all uniform, is what I'm really trying to say. And due to that, your relationship is going to be what you and the other person or other people, because even monogamy is something that shouldn't be forced on the people as if it's the only way or the proper way to go. Essentially, the relationship is going to be what is right and okay for everybody involved. And that's true love. That's not tolerance. That is more so acceptance. And that is true love because when you truly love somebody, you accept them for the form that they are and the person that they are. And without that, it's a bridge that's waiting to break because tolerance can only go so far, even if you claim to really love somebody, because love is a fleeting feeling. Loyalty is true love to me because that means that you are anticipating my growth and my change as the seasons go on. And that is what we do as people. We change as we grow and mature. And if you don't have somebody that accepts you for who you are and who they believe that you are going to be based off of the love that they are supplying to you and the influences that you've told them that you surround yourself with, because that is a huge part of diet as well. What you listen to, what you watch, what you read, who you're around. This is a part of your diet too. It's not just about what you eat. If they can accept you for all of those things, then they truly love you. That's a true loyalty. And that is what I desire to have in any relationship that I have, whether it's platonic or romantic, just because that is something true. That's something that's going to last. So, in conclusion, being soft isn't a matter of staying in a safe place. Softness is more so refusing to allow the things we go through in life to weaken our ability to love or live by it. In truth, it takes strength to find this level of peace because no matter what path you take to reach it, you're always going to have something or someone to get through to get to it. So never forget, though, that no matter what, you deserve a love that is meant for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to my first real episode ever. I appreciate all of you because all of the love y'all have for me. If you do have a little more to spare, I would deeply appreciate a like if you enjoyed the episode and a comment below to let me know how you feel about the issue. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with the latest episodes and other content. Until next time, stay peaceful with love.